If you really want to become wealthy over time, you either have to build your own business or help somebody else build their business and be paid very well for your contribution. Orson Swett Marden wrote, "Don't wait for extraordinary opportunities. Seize common occasions and make them great. Weak men and women wait for opportunities. Great men and women make them." Ambitious men and women are starting more than 1 million new businesses every year. There are currently more than 27 million businesses nationwide, ranging from single individuals working off their kitchen tables, millions of them in fact, all the way up to companies like Microsoft, Motorola, and General Motors. Each of these businesses offers products or services that are in some way distinct and different from those of any other company. The opportunities for finding and developing a new business idea are all around you, and with proper preparation, the possibilities for your success in business are virtually unlimited. As many as 80% of all the products and services in common use today, at home, in business, and in organizations large and small, will be obsolete in 5 years. They will be replaced by newer, better, cheaper, and more efficient products and services. The rapid development of new technology and the desire of people for new, better, or cheaper products and services mean that you can start your fortune more easily today than any other time in history. However, we know that 80% to 90% of all new businesses fail in the first 2 to 4 years due to a variety of factors. As we discussed, the primary reason for business failure is incompetence of some kind on the part of the person or persons starting or running the company. This incompetence is usually manifested in an inability to sell the product or service in sufficient quantities or to control the costs of producing and selling the product in the first place. Another major reason for business failure is offering the wrong product at the wrong price to the wrong market at the wrong time, or a combination of these. If your product or service is wrong for today's market, even the best marketing efforts and cost controls won't help you to be successful. Ford Motor Company's introduction of the Edsel in the 1950s is a perfect example of the wrong product at the wrong time and price. After spending $250 million at that time in development and research, Ford brought the car to the market only to discover that there was no market for a car of that kind at that price. Many of the dot-com companies, like webvan.com offering groceries and pets.com offering pet foods and supplies, went broke and took down hundreds of millions of dollars of investors' capital with them. It turned out that there was not a sufficient market for groceries and pet supplies ordered over the internet and delivered by mail or personal courier. Many small business people often make the same mistake, but on a smaller scale. They invest an enormous amount of time and money bringing a product to market without ever determining in advance if there is sufficient demand at that price. In this lesson, you will learn a series of ideas on how to find a product or service, how to test market it before you invest a lot of money in it, how to promote it properly, and how to expand your business once you get started. Here are some key principles for business success. Number 1, start at the beginning. The first principle with regard to selecting any new product or service is to determine if it fills a genuine existing need that customers have right now. A new product or service must solve a problem of some kind for the customer, or make the life or work of the customer better in a cost-effective way. You must be very clear from the beginning about exactly what your product or service does to improve the quality of life of your customer. Number 2, offer good quality at a fair price. To be successful, a new product or service must be of good quality at a fair price. If it is in competition with other similar products or services, it must have what is called a unique selling proposition, a USP. It must have some beneficial feature or attraction that makes it unique, different, and superior to any competitive alternative. This area of uniqueness is central to success in business. No product or service can succeed unless it is somehow different and superior to any other product or service that competes with it. There's seldom any opportunity to build a business around a me-too product or service, one that just happens to be the same as all the others, the only difference being that it is you who happens to be selling it. The very safest business strategy is to start off with an accepted product for which there is already a widespread market, and then find a way to improve it in some way. Deliver it faster, make it better or of higher quality, or lower the price of the product or service in some way. Instead of trying to invent a new business or industry, start off with a product or service that people are already using and find some way to make it more desirable. 3. Practice frugality at all times. Tight financial controls and good budgeting are necessary for business success. Successful companies are those that use accurate bookkeeping and accounting systems. They put these systems in place at the very beginning and carefully account for every penny they spend. Even the largest multinational companies doing billions of dollars in sales each year tend to be careful with their expenditures. They're constantly looking for ways to cut costs while maintaining the same level of quality. They focus on frugality at all times, as do all self-made business millionaires. Especially with a small business, you must hold on to your cash as a drowning man would hold on to a life preserver. Cash is the lifeblood of the business. Cash flow is the critical measure and determinant of business success. All successful entrepreneurs install careful financial controls and monitor them every day. They carefully consider every expenditure. They take the time to analyze the use of every dollar. They work from detailed budgets, and they review them every week and every month. The basic rule for entrepreneurial success is to spend money only to earn money. This is because in business there are only two basic categories, revenue and expense. The rule for running your business is that if it's not revenue, it's expense. The key to business success with regard to your operations is frugality, frugality, frugality. Once I worked for a man who had started with nothing and built an $800 million business empire by the time he was 55. I was amazed to see that he ate lunch at a small diner across the street from the office and drove a used car. He delighted in saving money. When Sam Walton was worth more than $25 billion, he still drove his own pickup truck to and from work. This attitude of frugality from the top permeated every aspect of the Walmart business, all the way down and throughout every department. The practice of frugality assured that the business was profitable year after year. Number 4, maximize your marketing. Perhaps the most important principle for business success is strong momentum in the sales department. This requires an emphasis on marketing that permeates the entire organization. What is the purpose of a business? Some people say that it is to make a profit, but this is not quite correct. The true purpose of a business is to create and keep a customer. Profits are the result of creating and keeping a sufficient number of customers in a cost-effective way. All emphasis has to be on creating and keeping customers. The keys to business success are simple. With regard to the product, the keys are to sell, sell, sell. The most important single skill you must develop for succeeding in your own business is the ability to sell yourself and your product to your customers. In fact, the ability to sell is one of the key skills for a successful life. With very few exceptions, all successful businesses begin with a single person who's excited about the product and who is very good at selling it to others. This entrepreneur likes the product so much that he or she can hardly wait to talk to other people about it. This individual is eager to make new customer contacts. But where there is no sales expertise, the finest product or service will fail. Number 5 key is to love your customers. In successful businesses, concern for the customer at all times is a top priority. In a successful business, everyone in the business thinks about creating, serving, and satisfying customers all day long. 10 years after the book In Search of Excellence by Peters and Waterman came out and became a massive bestseller, a journalist asked Tom Peters which of the 7 principles in the book he felt was still the most important. He replied without hesitating that it was an obsession with customer service. In the best businesses, large and small, the key people love their customers. They think about their customers day and night. They see themselves as personal representatives or agents of their customers, working on the customer's behalf. This attitude of devotion to customer wants and needs permeates the entire organization and causes people to want to do business with the company and continue doing business with it in the future. You can always tell a good business by the way it treats customers. You can tell a good business by the way people answer the phone and deal with customer requests and inquiries. You can tell a good business by the way they deal with customer needs and complaints. Concern for the customers at all times is a top priority in all successful businesses. The sixth principle for business success is to develop a complete business plan before starting. A major reason for business success is that the founders developed this plan. Successful businesses are those who have carefully thought through every part of the business, completed very careful budgets, and conducted a break-even analysis on their activities before they open their doors. They have organized and laid out a business plan like a blueprint before they begin spending money and engaging in business activities. Here is an interesting discovery. Once the business plan is developed, it is seldom referred to. Very often, companies will spend many months developing a business plan and spend several weeks each year updating the business plan. But once it is complete, it is put into a drawer and seldom referred to until it is time to update it again. Why is this? The reason is that what usually happens in a business once operations begin is quite different from what was expected or predicted. What use then is a business plan? The answer is that the very exercise of working out a business plan in advance forces the entrepreneur to think through all the critical decisions that are involved or will be involved in the operation of the business. Writing out a business plan forces the business owner to think about the products and services to be offered, the prices at which they will be sold, and the likely volume of sales that will be achieved. It forces the business owner to carefully think through all of the expenses that will be incurred in bringing that product to the market. It forces the business owner to project the people who will be required, the offices and facilities that will be necessary, the money that will be needed for rent, utilities, and payroll, and all the little factors that go into making a business successful. By writing out a business plan in advance, the entrepreneur is forced to think through and carefully analyze every one of these numbers and combine them into a total blueprint as for building a building before starting. Over the years, I've worked with entrepreneurs who were eager to start a new business. However, once they were forced to think through and gather all the information necessary to complete a business plan, they realized that the business would not work. Either they could not charge enough for the product or service relative to the costs of bringing it to the market, or the market was not large enough. Sometimes the length of time to break even was too long, or some other factor that they hadn't considered came up. You've heard the saying, "You can't get there from here." By writing up a business plan, it often becomes clear that this business is not a good idea in the first place. Interestingly enough, when you go to a bank to borrow money or to a venture capitalist, or even undertake to hire a senior executive, the very first thing they will often ask you for is a business plan. If you don't have a business plan, you immediately reveal yourself as an incompetent manager, the number one reason for business failure. With no business plan, you have no credibility, and you'll find it almost impossible to get the support that you need to build your business. The seventh key for business success, or the seventh principle, is to resolve in advance that you will never give up. An important key to business success is a high degree of determination, persistence, and patience on the part of the business owner. Venture capitalists are people who look at hundreds of business plans and seldom fund more than 1% of them. They will tell you that what they look for is character and ability more than anything else in deciding whether to invest in a business. They look at not only the product or service to be offered, but the people whose talents, abilities, and experience will be essential to making the business successful. Determination, persistence, and patience go hand in hand with business success. Nothing ever works out the way you think it will. You will continually have to chop and change and go in different directions. Your best laid plans will meet with disappointment and frustration, but your ability to persist and to continue seeking faster, better, more innovative ways of achieving your business goals is the key to your future. Based on studies of many thousands of businesses, there are some rules of thumb in terms of the time you can expect to invest. First, it takes 2 years to break even in an average business. For the first 2 years of the business, you will be learning about that business at a rapid rate. During this time, you will almost invariably be scrambling financially, trying to keep your head above water. You will borrow from your friends and relatives and often go deeply in debt. This is part of the normal price that an entrepreneur has to pay to learn the skill of starting and running a successful business. It takes 4 years for a new business to show a profit. As Peter Drucker said, no business makes a real profit within 4 years. Every attempt to break this rule ends up in financial disaster for the entrepreneur. Look at what happened to all the dot-com companies that spent millions of dollars on Super Bowl advertising in an attempt to jumpstart their businesses into immediate sales and profitability rather than building slowly over time. In the 3rd and 4th year of your business, you'll be making a profit and bringing in more money than it is costing you to stay in business. During this time, you'll be paying back all the loans and bills that you accumulated in the first 2 years. The 3rd rule of thumb is that you will break into serious profitability at about the 7th year of your business. It takes this long for you to master the skills of entrepreneurship in this particular business or industry. And there are no shortcuts. You have to be patient. Henry Ford once wrote, "The 2 most important requirements for success in business are foresight and patience. And the man who lacks patience lacks the critical quality for success in any business venture." Now, there's a basic business rule that any new product or service to enter into the marketplace and succeed must be superior to its competitors in at least 3 ways. Your job is to find 3 different ways in which you can improve the desirability of your product for a customer who already uses a similar product supplied by a different company. The entire convenience store industry was built around the 3 concepts of moving the stores closer to the customer, offering a narrow range of the most popular products, and remaining open longer hours to make it more convenient for the customer to buy. By focusing on these 3 differentiators, the convenience store industry now achieves many billions of dollars in annual sales. Most fortunes are made by providing established products and services in established markets to established customers, but finding a way to improve the process of production, selling, delivery, and service in some respect. The success rate for brand new products or services in the United States is only 10%. The success rate for improved products or services is about 80%. By following the market and bringing out an improved product or service in an established market, you can increase your odds of success from 10% to 80%. This can make all the difference between success and failure. Now, there are several questions that you must be able to answer to succeed in a competitive market. Look at what you are doing right now and apply these questions and their answers to your business. First, is your product suitable? The product or service must be well suited to the needs of the current market. This means that customers want it, need it, can use it, and can afford it. Plus, they're willing to buy it right now. If there's no immediate and pressing need or desire for the product or service, it will probably fail in a competitive market. Second, you must analyze the market. A major reason for business success is that you do careful market analysis before you start business operations. In other words, you invest considerable thought into whether there is a market before you even create the product or service. When I do marketing and sales consulting for corporations, I always ask 3 basic questions about a product or service that they're thinking about bringing to the market, or have already released but which is not selling particularly well. Marketing question number 1. Is there actually a market for this product? Remember, Errant assumptions lie at the root of every failure. Many entrepreneurs become excited about bringing a product or service to the market without ever standing back and objectively assessing if there are customers who will buy this product or service in competition with whatever they are currently using or whatever else is available. Is there a market for what you want to sell? Marketing question number 2. Is the market large enough? The cost of developing a new product or service and bringing it to the market can be extremely high. There must therefore be a large enough market for the product or service to justify all of the time and expense necessary to produce it in the first place. Gillette just released its new 4-blade razor, the Quadra, but only after investing 10 years and more than $500 million in its development. The market for that razor will have to be enormous and extend for several years to pay back the cost of producing the razor in the first place. Marketing question number 3. Is the market concentrated enough? Are there large enough numbers of customers in specific geographic locations, accessible by advertising and promotional efforts without bankrupting your country? Today, with the internet or pinpointed direct mail, it's possible to reach potential customers all over the world quickly and inexpensively. But the question of how you are going to make your product or service availability known to enough customers in a cost-effective way can determine the success or failure of your business. There may be a market for 100,000 units of a particular product in the United States, but if the demand is only 1 or 2 per community throughout the country, it may be impossible to reach those people with any kind of advertising or sales effort. Even if there is a large demand for a new product, if it's not concentrated enough to be reached in a cost-effective way, a company can go broke bringing it to the market. A third question you must ask is, who is your customer? Identify the customer for this product or service. This is the central question of marketing research. Who is your ideal customer in terms of age, occupation, position, income level, gender, tastes, hobbies, and interests? The greater accuracy with which you can identify your ideal customer, the easier it becomes for you to design the product or service appropriately and to market it effectively. The biggest mistake you can make is to sell aggressively and professionally to the wrong customer, the person who cannot or will not buy from you, no matter how good your product or service is. A fourth question for you to ask is, why would they buy from you? Determine why your ideal customer will buy from you. What value does he or she seek? What is it that your product or service will do for your customer that will cause him or her to buy from you rather than from someone else? Why would your ideal customer switch from his or her existing supplier for your product or service rather than continue buying from the current supplier? Many small companies go broke because they do not have a good enough reason for customers to switch from their current suppliers to the new product or service. Fifth question you should ask is, what are the alternatives? Determine what else is available. What other products or services are available to the same customer to satisfy the same need or solve the same problem? How is your product or service superior in a meaningful way to your competitors' products and services? Especially, how do you position yourself against your competitors in such a way that your prospective customer sees your product or service as superior and more desirable than anything else available? The sixth question is, what does each customer cost? One of the most important concepts in business is called cost of acquisition. This is the amount of money that you will have to pay in advertising, promotion, marketing, direct mail, telemarketing, and commissions to gain a single customer. This amount has to be calculated in advance and built into your financial projections. The failure to accurately determine your cost of acquisition per customer can quickly undermine the finances of your entire business. You've heard it said jokingly, we lose money on every sale, but we make it up on the volume. It's no joke, though. There are many companies that sell high volumes of products, but because their costs of acquisition are so high, they actually lose money on every sale. Don't let this happen to you. Here is a summary question that I write out and then break down line by line when I work with small and large companies. Your ability to ask and answer every part of this question will largely determine your success or failure in business. An incomplete or inaccurate answer to any part of this question can lead to insurmountable problems that will bring down the enterprise. Here it is. What exactly is going to be sold, to whom, and at what price? And how is it going to be sold, and by whom? And how is it going to be paid for, produced, delivered, and serviced? Let me go over that question point by point. Number 1. What exactly is the product or service in terms of what it does to change or improve the life or work of the customer? Number 2. To whom is it going to be sold? Exactly. Who's going to buy it? 3. At what price is it going to be sold to this customer, and is this the correct price? Number 4. How is it going to be sold to this customer at this price? What is your sales process from first contact with the prospect through to the finished sale? 5. Who is going to sell it in this way to this customer at this price? In other words, where are you going to find the sales people or professionals who can actually convert a lead into a customer? 6. How is it going to be paid for, and when? What's your payment schedule or plan? And 7. How is your product or service going to be produced, delivered, and serviced? Failure to ask and answer these 7 questions can be fatal to the business. Changing any one of these answers can change your results completely. In the final analysis, your ability to sell your product in a cost-effective way, including marketing, advertising, selling, commissions, travel, and all promotional costs, is the key to business success. Becoming or finding the right salesperson, developing an effective sales presentation, and talking to a large enough number of prospective customers is central to the entire business process. As the rule says, nothing happens until a sale takes place. Since cash flow is the life energy of the business, spend money only to generate additional cash flow. Delay, defer, and cancel any expenditure that does not increase sales and revenues. A primary reason for business success is tight financial controls, especially at the beginning. A primary reason for business failure is spending too much money on non-cash generating expenditures, especially at the beginning of the business. There are 7 steps that you can take throughout your business career to assure that you achieve the very most in sales and profitability with the very least in effort and loss. Any attempt to short-circuit or sidestep these 7 steps can end up costing you far more than you could ever imagine. Step 1. Set specific financial goals for yourself and then begin to visualize them as a reality. Play and replay the picture of your goal on the screen of your mind as if it were already a reality over and over again. The greater the clarity, frequency, intensity, and duration with which you visualize your goal, the faster you will attract into your life the people, circumstances, ideas, and resources necessary to achieve it. Step 2. Look for a need that you can fill or a problem that you can solve with a product or service that is both of high quality and good value. All successful businesses are based on products or services that are excellent in some way. Refuse to spend a minute of your time producing or promoting a product or service that is not superior in some way to whatever else is available in the marketplace. Step 3. Start small and learn your business thoroughly. Be patient. Invest your time rather than your money, especially at the beginning. As we said before, one of the best ways to build a business is to bootstrap. This approach requires that you start off with a little money and you grow your business with the profits that you earn from the sale of your products or services rather than from outside financing. Step 4. Test before you invest. Take the time to test every major move before you invest money in it. The 3 rules for success in marketing and selling are always test, test, test. One of the reasons that entrepreneurs fail is because they are too impatient. They get a good idea and then they plunge into business without doing their homework. It's much better that you move ahead carefully one step at a time. Take feedback from your mistakes and make corrections to your course. Step 5. Grow from your profits. Only expand your business on the basis of your successes out of your profits from your business activities. Only expand your business with money that you have earned in the business, not on borrowed capital. In study after study, business analysts have found that starting off with a limited amount of money is often the best of all possible strategies. When you have very little money at the beginning, you are forced to use your imagination, creativity, and energy to generate sales and profits. You don't have the luxury of a big bank account that enables you to make expensive decisions or engage in costly advertising activities. Step 6. Select people carefully. Fully 95% of business success is in the selection process. Be extremely careful in selecting the people to help you expand and grow your business. The biggest mistakes that you will ever make will be in picking the wrong people to work with. So take your time. All productivity comes from people. All sales and marketing success is the result of having good people in key places. All business success comes from having competent people in the key jobs in your company. One incompetent person in a key job can be enough to doom an enterprise. Don't let this happen to you. And finally, step number 7, use financial leverage. Financial leverage comes in the form of business borrowing and lines of credit from the bank, which are based on the cash flow from your successful business. The key to the success of any business is cash flow. If you have positive cash flow, if you're generating profits from your daily, weekly, and monthly business activities, you can accomplish almost anything in the business world. When you have a history of positive cash flow, banks will be open to lending you the money that you need to take advantage of additional opportunities. Now, here are 3 ideas that will help you in the future. First, look at the market and identify needs unmet and problems unsolved that you could do something about with a new or existing product or service. Look for opportunities everywhere. Number 2, look into yourself and determine the kind of product or service you could really get excited about producing and selling. How you feel personally about your business will determine whether you make it a success. And number 3, take the time to develop a business plan before you start spending time and money on a new venture. Determine where your sales will come from, how much they will cost, and how profitable they're likely to be. And above all, take continuous action in the direction of your goals.